For you guys today, got one person in, it says. Running a little late. I sat down on the couch for a minute and fell asleep. Oh, you want to say hi? Anyway, it's been a little bit of a busy week. Yesterday wasn't very busy for me, but Gary had a lot of work this week. A lot of catching up. Yeah. Still working on apples. And bought some cabbage plants in my fall garden. And not sure what else. Not much. But it's a nice day. It's nice and warm. The sun's out in amongst the clouds. Got a little bit of rain this morning. Hi, Julia. And a little bit of rain, not really enough. We'll still have to water in the plants we planted yesterday. Yeah. So, church this morning was nice. Had a good sermon this morning. I don't know, not a whole lot going on. So what's going on with you guys? Have you got any fall? The cool evening there, good. You got any fall garden or anything going, Julia? Still getting a trickling in of tomatoes, and the Gary was shelling out some dry beans and bigger eggplant fruits. We didn't plant eggplant this year. Yeah. Peppers are doing good. Lots of peppers still.
Yeah. Kind of let the okra get away from us.
We did. Oh, cool. Best peppers. Hello, Leo. Well, thank you, Leo. We are in Missouri. But yeah. Hmm. Looks but yep, it's a pretty day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have any of our moderators in here.
Nope, nope. But we'll just wait and see. Um, it's a pretty day here in the Missouri Ozarks, and the fall gardens are going strong. Need to pick green beans and get some more green beans put away.
Hello, Rebecca.
Hi, Rebecca. Hello, Marcelo
Hello.
from Brazil. Awesome. Welcome. look at the one helper review.
Nope. That one is the same thing over and over again.
Yep.
That's definitely your box.
Yep. But yeah. Rio de Janeiro. Cool. Cool. Not been that far south, have you?
Nope. No, I haven't been that far south.
Been down into the Gulf of Mexico, down to Galveston, but that's as far south as I've been.
I've never left this continent.
Oh.
And that's the next continent.
It
there.
is the United States of America, the country we're in. We're in Missouri, Ozarks. Goldenrod for tea, Julie. How? Oh, yeah.
Wow. Cool.
But anyway, we're in the Ozarks. It's a hilly country. The Ozarks are mountains, a mountain range in the United States.
Yeah.
And we are on the edge of the Ozark Mountains. And thank you, Marcella. Nice to meet you as well. But so we have lots of wildlife, which I'm sure you do too. So we're Cindy and Gary, and the name of our channel is Pathways Homestead. So we have lots of wildlife around here.
Mm-hmm.
We have a few farm animals. We have just, well, a few. We just have chickens. And, oops. So, anyway, and we have some dogs. That's the animals on our homestead, besides the wild animals.
Right.
Yeah, lots of wildlife. It'll be, is it already deer season here, bow season?
Our bow season has started. Yeah.
So it is just after 5 o'clock in the evening.
Ireland.
Well, welcome, Philip from Ireland. Cool. Yeah. We are, I guess, we're in Missouri. I'm not sure. It's a Midwestern state.
Where y'all been?
No, this one down here.
Oh, southern state.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we are, by some definitions, we are a southern state, but we also are by some definitions a Missouri or a Midwestern state.
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of on that border. We
are.
The Mason-Dixon actually goes through our state.
Right. And we're just north of that line.
Yeah.
So technically, we are we're kind of in the middle.
Midwestern state. But it's definitely got heavily southern influence.
Hi, Jay from Texas. Sorry, buddy. Yeah, last week we were traveling, so we didn't get to do our live. We had to we have a small farm in Kansas, and we had run and got some items from the farm and worked on it. Hello, Heather Hopper. So.
Yeah.
-13°C, I'm guessing. And invisible 11:11 p.m. Wow. Northern Ireland. Wow, 13 degrees. So Celsius. We're at around 90 degrees Fahrenheit, aren't we today? Or not that warm?
Well,
82 degrees.
Yeah.
It felt warm. But yeah, so.
We're at 82 Fahrenheit.
82
I don't know
Fahrenheit.
what that is in Celsius.
I don't either. I'm not good at, I don't
know how
there's a conversion, but I don't know how to do it.
Too mathy for me.
I learned it in school and did it a lot, but Your language is Portuguese. Cool.
Yeah.
I already.
That's a language I don't even know if I'd know it if I heard it.
Okay. I would some, because Mrs. De Almeida, she was Portuguese,
Okay.
but she grew up. She grew up, so she had dual citizenship, Portugal and in Venezuela. So she grew up in both places, traveling back and forth with her family, and then at some point she immigrated to the United States. But she was our Spanish teacher in high school, or mine in high school. Colorado, Palm Springs on exchange program. Nice. Nice. Colorado is beautiful. I've not been to Palm Springs in Colorado though. I've been to Palm Springs isn't Colorado, so is it? No, it's
I don't know. I'm guessing there's probably more than one Palm Springs in the U.S.
yeah.
But I don't know.
Colorado Springs, I think is what I was thinking about.
Yeah. Yeah. There. We are basically just east of Colorado.
Yep. Yep.
Couple states.
Couple states. Yep.
Or a state. Kansas is between us and
Yep.
Colorado.
So we're two over. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. I don't know any words in Portuguese. I don't remember any. And the only, yeah.
Nope. I don't. Like I said, I can kind of hack at Spanish a little bit, but and there's some other languages I know a few words in, but I don't even know if I'd know Portuguese if I heard it. That's one I've not been around much. I've not been around people that spoke that very much. I'm around a lot of people that speak Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up around people that spoke some indigenous languages, Creek mostly. And yep, I've definitely heard some German and stuff like that, but I wouldn't know Portuguese if I heard it.
Charlottesville, North Carolina.
Huh,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And hi, Emo. And yeah, we've traveled a lot, like in North America.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been up to two of the provinces in Canada several times, and then we've been just in the United States, in the just in the lower 48. Neither of us have been to Hawaii or Alaska. And Gary did get to visit Mexico one year and visit pretty deep into Mexico, into the mountains. But we had small children then, and so I stayed home. A waiter at the Broadmoor Hotel. Yeah, I would get homesick too. Yeah, it's a huge culture difference. 2 hours from Denver. Okay, nice.
We've definitely gone through Denver.
We have. When we lived in Wyoming, our family is in Oklahoma. Well, Gary's family lives here, but yeah. Traveled to Argentina, Mexico, and Portugal. Nice. Nice.
I've spent a couple weeks in Mexico.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The activities we're going to get into in the next weeks, we're going to continue on putting away. We're going to start on carrot harvest and work pretty hard at carrots. Excuse me, I got to sneeze. Work pretty hard on carrots. Gary started on our kitchen and hopes to get some of that going this in the next few weeks.
Getting back to working on the house.
Yeah, back to working on the house. Thank you, Philip. Thank you for the blessings for my sneeze. And yeah, we're just getting the final Hooga Homestead. Hello. Yeah, it'd be neat to visit the States. Yeah. Thank you, Rebecca. We still have a whole lot of our dried beans still going, like our lima beans are still going strong. About got some fall green beans that I've got to pick and get going on those. We still have some of our Red Ripper cowpeas. They still need to be harvested. We still have black turtle beans coming on. Those are a dried bean as well, or black bean. And I think it'll be at maybe 3 weeks or four that we'll start. We'll keep an eye on the weather that we'll harvest our sweet potatoes. We still have our Cherokee Charlatier beans as well that'll need to be gone through in the corn.
Still got a lot of lima beans that need gone through.
Yes,
too,
yeah. And so we've been trying to go through and to keep the plants producing, pulling off the beans that have dried, and plus the lima beans. If you don't pick them off, they'll bust open when it rains. Something about the rain hitting them, they'll bust open those dry pods and sprinkle the seeds. No, I'm not sick. I'm good. I just had allergies just from the pollen in the air. On sweet potato slips, so you want to, it's putting them in the ground. I start my sweet potatoes indoors. Oh, we're on a farm. Yes, we're on a large cattle farm here in the Midwest. Here, we don't have one here. We have a small acreage in Kansas that we farmed, and if you get a chance, you can go back on our early videos and see our Kansas homestead and the farm there, and we had lots of animals there. So much so that we had to rent property to graze them on because we had so many, but not like huge, not like the rancher here. The rancher here has thousands of cattle, hundreds if not thousands of cattle, and large tracts of land. So
yeah, Philip, I don't know if the river run through it. It was not filmed in Missouri. I don't think it was about Montana, and I believe it was filmed in Montana and into Calgary.
Yep.
Or into Alberta,
into Alberta.
I believe.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
I could be wrong, but I think it was filmed up there close to where it was supposed to be about in Montana, which is quite a ways from Missouri. There have been a lot of films shot here. There's a really strong acting and performing core here in especially southern Missouri. Branson's got a lot of that connected to it, but also it's like the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville was spawned by somebody that owned one at Osage Beach, and then decided to open the one in Nashville. And I mean, like, find a lot of connection here. So yeah, like Outlaw Josie Wales.
Yeah.
He was from Missouri, right? And so there's a lot of stuff going on here. And the Ozarks is a mountainous region. They're kind of a weird mountain. So, like, most mountains are up. Hills ain't high, but the valley's deep, as the song goes. And the Ozark Mountains are a series of plateau valleys, really. But the Ozarks is a region that is even cultural, not just geographical, but cultural. And one of the more famous of our culture from the Ozarks, which Cindy and I will lay claim to because it's from Oklahoma. It's where the red fern grows, and that was in the Oklahoma Ozarks.
Of rural America. And I'm sure rural living anywhere, because I know that our children have traveled to different places in the world and not had internet access. But if the wind's blowing, we have good internet access. If it's not, we don't. I know that's kind of crazy. We've got some trees in the way, and so.
Julia, I said Osage Beach. I believe it was actually one of the little bitty towns around Osage Beach, but I couldn't remember which one it was at the moment. I listened to a podcast called the Ozarkian Folk Chronicles, and they talk about that a lot and the influence that the music in the Ozarks has had on the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And
All right. Good night, Marcelo. I believe Doc Holliday's buried in Denver.
In Denver, maybe. I don't know.
He died in Tombstone.
Did he die?
Yeah.
Tombstone? Okay.
Doc Holliday, did he? Or have I got the wrong guy?
Yeah. Doc Holliday died in an infirmary somewhere in
Oh.
basically a rest home. He
Oh.
died of tuberculosis,
Oh, that's too
and I
bad.
can't remember where it was at.
You're
But
gonna
it
go to the
could have
beach.
been in
Oh,
Denver.
nice. Go to have fun at the beach. Yes, Starlink is very expensive, and it is hit and miss here because of the trees.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have so many trees, it's kind of hit and miss here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but but it is cost prohibitive for us. So Jesse James was from Missouri. Oh,
Yes, he
yep,
was.
yep.
Yes, he was. Lots of outlaws from Missouri.
Yeah, yeah. It
But
was so, and yeah.
Missouri, actually, pre-Civil War, the Ozarks were the Wild West.
Hmm.
They really were. A lot of people don't think about that, but especially like 20 years before the Civil
Yes.
War, the 1830s and 1840s.
Yeah.
And the cool thing, not cool thing, but one of the connections here is this old house you guys see us
Hmm.
sitting in the 1860s, in the middle of the Civil War, at the beginning of the Civil War. There was an abolitionist preacher that built this house and living here, and bushwhackers, um, which were
Outlaws.
yeah, Confederate outlaws. They, which Missouri was not all Confederate or all Union. There was
No.
a mixture of
Hmm.
that here, and like the state was
Divided. Greatly
divided,
divided.
and some of the state government went Union, but a lot of the local governments went Confederacy, and so anyhow, the bushwhackers actually assassinated the pastor that lived here on this porch, or I'm sure that this porch has been repoured since then, but right here on this porch, they assassinated that abolitionist pastor.
Yep.
Bushwhackers did, and so this, I mean, this was, and there's a little town every 10 miles around here now, but at that time it was miles and miles and miles to any kind of town, and so it was definitely the West. I mean, in the Civil War, when soldiers showed up from Missouri, they were from the West.
Yeah.
And, St. Louis, 20 years before that, 30 years before that, the
Hmm.
time of the Mountain Men,
Yep.
that was the gateway to the West, and that's the eastern side of our state.
Yeah.
St. Louis is. So, um, yeah, there's a lot of that kind of Jesse James type history.
Rebecca, what is related
Yeah.
to the Dalton families because of marriage. Nice, fun,
Yeah.
fun. I guess one of my great grandfathers was I hit a bunch of them in Indian Territory. I don't know if that's a good bragging rights or not, but it's not good bragging rights. Yeah. But no, yeah, I had my family was in Indian Territory, and one of my great grandfathers was a manufacturer of fine drinking water, fire water, and that's yeah. He had injured himself working on the railroad, and that's how he chose to support his family when he could no longer work. So,
We are Cindy and Gary, Philip.
Cindy and Gary, yep. Yeah, Starlo, yeah. But, yeah, so.
Cindy and I both really enjoy history, especially that, I would say that 1800 to the Great Depression or till World War II.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that really like that part of American history, but I'd definitely say Civil War to the Great Depression
Mm-hmm.
is probably what we enjoy the most. But
And we have, yeah. Well, thank you, Philip. Hi.
we have, there's all kinds of neat connections and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and I've had several customers when they find out that I really like history or that I live in this school. There's a lot of local
Mm-hmm.
history books around this area. There's actually a gentleman in St. Robert that sits up at the Waynesville Farmers Market and sells his history books that he's written
Yep.
about the area. We're in Pulaski County.
Yep.
And I can't remember. General Pulaski was Revolutionary War general
Mm-hmm.
that came from Poland just to serve as a cavalry general in the Revolutionary War. Kind of weird, but
Yeah. Yes, Philip. Yeah. Philip said that they had American troops in Northern Ireland and Belfast during Second World War.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep. Yeah. Mm.
yep.
Yeah.
Um, that's kind of neat, definitely. There is. I have some Irish ancestry, some
Scots Irish.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Scots Irish, and maybe even Irish, but I've kind of looked into some of the history of that over there, and definitely know things that went on after World War II there too, and
One of your aunts was from England,
yeah,
but he was in the military, but it was post World War II. Was it
hmm
Korean War maybe?
I don't really know for sure, but
Okay,
yeah.
but it was post World War II.
Uh-huh.
Nice, cool, nice. We like history. We like to watch a lot of like historical reenactment shows and historical shows about, with historical content
Hmm.
and lots of history. We like history and all over history. Just but yeah, history of the world. Just something we really enjoy.
Yeah, I think that um, that there's been some really neat documentaries on how the Irish Americans and Scottish Scots Irish both, how they have affected the United States and their influence on the
Hmm.
U.S. Both the Irish and Scots Irish had a huge influence, especially on Midwestern and Southern blue collar
Hmm.
rural traditions. Huge influence.
Yeah. Donna and Steve going somewhere. Our neighbors
Hmm.
going by. But yeah. So we. Oh, and nuts season. It'll be walnuts are falling.
Hickory nuts.
Hickory
It's
nuts.
time to start looking for them.
Hickory nuts.
I know
And
where there's a couple big shagbark trees I
uh-huh.
need to go look at down by
Clem-
Matthew's house.
Clemson's Creek, Clements Creek, or however you say it.
Yeah.
They have pecans
Oh, really?
at the farm stand. So I need.
One of the trees here in town I was looking at the other day didn't have any hardly pecans on it.
So there's a farm
We haven't had
stand
a
near
pecan in
us.
a
Well,
while.
it's there's nice. That's cool. Nice. Oh, that was the home.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Probably my least that we've ever had. But yeah,
Jackson's.
Indian removal act.
Yeah.
We'll just throw that out there. That's something that's
Not
a lot
a
of brown
choice.
people.
Yeah.
But anyhow,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Gary and I both come from a very diverse background ancestry,
Yep, very diverse.
and so some of Gary's ancestors were forced out of the Carolinas and Kentucky or no, not Kentucky, excuse me, that was the other family, but out of the Carolinas,
Yeah.
and forced to Oklahoma on the Trail of Tears. So President Jackson is not our favorite, and yeah, and mostly he's not my favorite because of his prejudice. Just
Extreme prejudice.
extreme prejudice, which is sad. It's heartbreaking. Oh, Julia pulled hers.
Oh.
But yeah,
Yeah, history is a neat thing when you know kind of what's gone on.
mhm.
I think history is important. I think we can learn a lot from history.
And
I think
yeah,
it helps give us a sense of person.
Mhm.
It help. I don't know if that's the right word.
give us
It's
a.
a sense of who we are as people,
Mhm.
and that's not just like, not just like just and who we are as humans.
Mhm.
And I do believe there is only one race, and that's the human race. And so to learn history regardless of where it was from, is to learn about who we are as beings.
One race, many, many, many shades of skin tone,
Uh-huh.
but uh, yeah, we're all made in the image of God, and He's created us all differently. And because He didn't create all the flowers the same, so why would He create people all the same? But
The trail here is very sad.
yes, it's sad work. Yes, for
I don't think we need to avoid the warts and history. I think we need to talk about those.
I think
And not to rewrite history, not to be revisionist, not to try to judge people by today's standards, to judge people of the past by today's standards. I don't think we should do that. But I think we need to understand where we've come from.
and I think
And the warts are where we've come from.
we're going to make mistakes, but hopefully we can stop making the same mistakes. And history, I think, if we will pay attention and have compassion and love for each other, that will slow those down. That hopefully those mistakes will be less tragic. I don't have any other word for it. The tragedy. I mean, in history, and we can look at all stages of history. How you cannot you cannot find hardly any era in history to where there was not at least one, if not multiple, persecuted people groups.
Absolutely. Every human being has been persecuted at some point or another, because it's not a race issue, it's a heart issue.
That's right.
And as human beings, we are messed up, and we have faults and flaws. And when we look at different colors and different different ancestries and different colors and different cultures, um, so we as human beings, we were created in the image of God. But as human beings, we are finite. And there's no way that one type, one color, one culture of human beings can contain the greatness, or not contain, but can portray the greatness of our God. So He created multiple cultures and multiple skin colors and male and female to try to reflect who He is in that greatness, because God is so big and so mighty and so diverse in who He is, that to reflect His nature, He had to make us all different, because no one of us is capable of reflecting the bigness of God.
Right. Hello, Charlene and Lori. How are you? But yeah, So I don't know. And there's a beauty in all of us. I mean, there just is. There's a beauty. If you get a large group of people together, and there's just a beauty in people. I mean, and like I like to compare it to a flower, because that's something I can understand, and sometimes we can't understand it. But I know we have an enemy, and his goal is to divide us.
Well, I'm glad you're in here. We kind of needed to.
We needed a moderator.
Moderator a little earlier, but I think we're doing great
yeah,
now.
we just
thank you for being in here.
Thank you, Lori, for coming in. We just ignored the bots, and they finally just left. But we've had some great conversations, Yep, that's exactly right, Philip. That's exactly right. But we've had, and unfortunately, as human beings, we make huge mistakes and we hurt each other. But we do have a common enemy, and I think he loves to stir that up, and he loves to stir up division amongst us as people.
But the Bible tells us eventually he's going to have to lick the spoon.
He is.
Stirred enough crap, eventually he's going to have to lick the spoon.
Yeah. So, but our job here on earth is to love God and to love our neighbors. And so, thank you, Leo. Thank you.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so that's our job, was to love God and love each other. And we have chosen to use our channel as kind of a platform for that. Yes, He is. Yeah, Jesus is coming back. And thank you, Leo. Yes, He loves you too, buddy. But yeah. So
We like history.
uh huh.
History is important to us. Our rural culture is very important to us. Our lifestyle, our homesteading
Mhm.
lifestyle, is important to us. But most important to us is the gospel of Jesus Christ. So we're using all the rest of that that's important to us as platforms to share that with people. We want I desire for people that hear from me and people that I get to interact with. I want you to know who God is. I want you to know what Jesus has done for you.
Mhm.
And so that's what we're trying to do
Yeah.
here.
And that's why we don't respond to to what we think are possibly inappropriate questions. Um, so thank you, Julia. So like earlier, some of the we were pretty sure we've gotten a whole swarm of bots all at one time, and
And maybe one or two of them wasn't, but it seemed.
hi, Miss Barb. How are you?
Yeah.
Barb with Ben's Over Acres. How are you doing?
Is
But
it getting cold up there yet, Barb? Still pretty warm down here
yeah,
in the Ozarks. But
somewhere I saw. Well, they're getting Bear Pass was closed. They were having to
wow,
plow it
already
out.
in
Yeah,
September, huh?
in September they had a freak storm. Um, I think it was Bear Pass. Anyway, Beartooth, Beartooth, Beartooth Pass. It wasn't the one. It was in Montana. Is that Beartooth?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, it was in Montana.
I'm not sure.
One of the bear passes in Montana was snowed in, and they were having to bring in trucks. No, it was. It's the one that is goes to. Oh gosh, it's the one between Wyoming and Idaho. Is that the right one?
South Pass.
South Pass. No, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was. I don't know. But anyway, finally cooled down to 69. Send that our way. It's warm here.
We were at 64 this morning.
Yeah.
We've had several nights. We've had some nights in the 40s and this month.
Yeah.
But just a night or two, and then get warm in the day. We're doing not too bad, but it was warm today, for sure.
Yeah. We grew fall lettuce, and it's bitter because it's been so hot and dry. So Gary picked us what he thought would be a big old salad, and he thought, I'll try some of this. And it was bitter because it's been so hot and dry. So we have been having to water, but with it being dry, so we have gone 4 or 5 weeks without a significant rain, maybe more, without a significant rain. And since the Ozarks are rock, we need a 1 inch rain or more every few days, and we're not getting that. I hear bitters are good for us. They probably are. But yeah, so he made us an amazing salad out of what all did you put in there? There was radishes,
I had radishes and carrots, and bell peppers and banana peppers and
mozzarella cheese.
and yeah, mozzarella cheese and some sliced up pepperoni.
Oh, so
And
good.
I had some
Tomatoes in
two or
there.
three kinds of tomatoes, like some cherry tomatoes and some yellow pear tomatoes and some sliced up jubilee or rainbow tomatoes.
And I didn't.
Had chopped up celery leaves from
Oh,
our celery,
yes.
which is a big thick leaf.
Yeah.
Had cilantro and dill.
And I thought it was going to. I thought I was going to be the only one home, so I went to the local hamburger shop, and got the special because that was Thursday. Because the special on Thursday at our local hamburger shop is a bacon mushroom Swiss, and they buy quality hamburger and press out their own patties, and so you're getting hamburger. And anyway, the only thing really bad for you is the breading, the bread for the hamburger bun, and the French fry oil. Rain yesterday. 60 today. 102 2 days ago. Oh, Lori.
Wow.
We were in the 90s. We were 99 the other day. I can't remember which day that was. Thursday, I think. I've been to Arkansas and Texas.
Yeah. Huh,
I
cool.
have been to Houston. I've not seen NASA, but I've been to Houston. I've been to Arkansas and different places in Arkansas, and I've been all over Texas. All over Texas. Fishing up, finishing up on the garden. All the taters out and delivered. Awesome. Awesome. We are finishing up our taters.
Well, yeah, we dug ours pretty early.
Yeah.
But that's kind of
Yeah.
the way the potatoes work here. You plant them early and you get them out early. But
And the ground's too hot to plant for a fall crop.
yeah, and so
Yep.
but we've been eating on them most of the summer.
Yep.
We dig those in June.
I don't remember. Maybe.
We've
Yep.
been eating them a lot, and we've had a really good crop of potatoes, and we've
Yep.
been eating carrots all summer.
Yeah.
A
We
lot
have
of carrots.
nice carrot crop. And, yep. Our, oh, lost the name of our Egyptian walking onions are sprouting back out again.
Yeah, they're starting to take over that little
Yeah,
patch.
take over the little patch that we put them in. Put them in a little raised bed. And some of our garlic has sprouted. One or two of our little garlics. We didn't pull our garlic. We planted all that garlic, and we did not pull it. We just left it for one more year. And it's starting to sprout a little bit. And it looks like we're going to have puppies.
Yeah,
Luke's-
our son was here with his dog, and what do you know?
We've
months
got.
later, we're gonna have
We're gonna
puppies.
have puppies. Wow, 650 hills.
Wow.
That is a lot, Barb. That's a lot.
Mhm.
A whole lot. Guys, I hope everything goes okay.
There's reconnected.
But I hope it doesn't lag too much with that. 55 Fahrenheit. Holy smokes, Philip.
55 Fahrenheit. That's not bad.
No, that's nice.
Yeah,
That's nice.
13 degrees.
Celsius.
Yeah.
All my exes live in Texas. Yeah, that's a George Strait song. Yep. Yeah. I have my mom's family. So she has several siblings in Texas. Her dad worked for oil refineries. He was an engineer in oil refineries for multiple oil companies, and so he worked in several in Oklahoma, a couple in Kansas, one or two in California, and then the final one he worked for, he was in Pasadena, Texas. And so a lot of my mom's siblings stayed in Texas. My mom and one of her sisters stayed in Oklahoma. But yeah, so my mom's family was originally from Oklahoma, and so her and her sister, just older than her, they stayed in Oklahoma. They met farmers and ranchers, and stayed in Oklahoma, and then the other ones met their husbands and wives in Texas and stayed in Texas. Oh yes, I do like to clip them. If I need to thin them, is when I really use a lot of them. But I do clip the greens off a lot, Julia. Yeah.
When they're real well established, and they're multiplying from the bulb and from the tops, they're doing their thing, and you got a pretty good patch. Then we'll start pulling like a whole green onions at a time. But while they're getting established, that's a good time to just use a green off. Some green off of them.
And they're pretty strong. They're a strong onion. Lori said it's been in the 90s, and then Thursday was 101, Friday was 102, and rain, so it's rain now. It's nice lower temps for the week or so.
Good.
Delivered to several older folks. Yes, that'll help them. Thank you, Barb. Thank you for blessing those families, those folks. Yeah, it is a lot of potatoes. But yeah, so we're about done with we finished up our onions that we didn't freeze. And so we have a little bit of onions in the freezer. And then we have our Egyptian walking onions. And I didn't gather any from Kansas. I should have went to when we were in Kansas. Went to the raised bed and pulled all of the walking onions since it doesn't look like we're going to go back. I mean, to stay there. But yeah, still trying to establish them. Yeah, sometimes they take a little bit. They can be finicky depending upon where they're at. Getting them, keeping them watered, seemed to be a struggle for us here and in Kansas. Getting enough water to them.
You can transplant them about any time of year. You can put them in poor soil. They'll take, some sandy soil. They'll take rich soil, whatever. But man, when you transplant them, if you're not transplanting them the right time of year and in the right soil, you have to keep them watered. That's the big thing. They have to have moisture. Some soil will keep that better than others, but they definitely have to have moisture.
But it's 77 degrees Fahrenheit is their summer. Oh, wow, Philip. No, we get over 100 degrees Fahrenheit here in the summer. Yeah. It is cooler in Missouri than where we were at in Kansas, than where we grew up in Oklahoma. Wyoming was much cooler. Much cooler. 80s and 90s was super hot there. And that we would have 1 to 3 days in the summer that it'd get to 100 degrees where we were at in Wyoming. But, but we grew up in Oklahoma, and it gets hot there. It gets really hot there. But Missouri, I guess because of all the diverse terrain, the highs and the lows, and the trees, I think, it stays pretty cool. And also, we have a lot of underground caverns. And I think that makes a difference in the temperature.
Where we're at with the Gulf Stream.
Yeah,
and all kinds
there's
of
just a whole lot ties in.
Even though Missouri is fairly humid, when it gets dark, it cools off around here. I really like that.
Oh. Bing Chat and Google Gemini, they're both free chats, and that's how I found the temperature differences. Nice. Nice. Yeah. We learned all that in school, how to convert the temperature, and there's a formula, but I don't remember it, and I can't do it off the top of my head anymore. I used to when I was a nerd, and especially when I was a mathlete, when I was on the math team.
When you were a nerd?
I still am a nerd. But
when you were a nerd.
When I was a nerd. But we had to do those calculations in our head. And that was a lot of the questions, was converting from Celsius to Fahrenheit and from Fahrenheit to Celsius. I don't know why they love to do that. I guess because it was so tricky. Yes, we do, Julia. Here in the U.S., we dream of traveling to the lush green summer of the Irish countryside. We do. We do. Oh, we do. I would like to visit Ireland. I don't know that the Lord has that plan for us, and that's okay. Yeah. But I've learned to be content and to, I hate to say not really, to dream and to, but not to, but I don't know how to put that. To think of things, the things I'd like to do, but not towards it would cause me discontentment. Right, yeah. Envy, I guess.
We'd love to go visit Ireland and Scotland.
Oh, yes. Yes.
A lot of my family history's from there.
Yes.
So definitely would love to go get to see some of that. My family was Covenanters. One of the big Covenanter martyrs has the same last name as I do. He didn't have any children, so, but anyhow. But my ancestor that came to the U.S. was a pastor, a reverend, and still involved in that line of thought, and still causing people problems by believing the Bible.
They were exiled to Ireland, went from Scotland. The British exiled them to Ireland, and then that didn't shut them up, so they sent them to the colonies to say, well, we're just going to get them so far away we don't have to worry about them. And yeah, and so they spread like wildfire, and all in the northern colonies and in the deep south, and they just, when a family, a large family is having, a dozen kids or more each generation, that
When
gets big.
14 have 14
When
have 14,
14,
that's a lot of people.
and of those 14 have 14 and 14, it gets to be, yeah, because like your Oklahoma cousins, I mean, like, we always joke in where we grew up in Oklahoma that we had to marry each other because everybody else was kin. And we've always teased that, and we haven't found where our families are tied besides us. So that kind of that we were like, phew, because like his grandma on his paternal side, her family settled a mile from my family. So we were all like, we were really checking that out, checking the Clemens and the Dunnigans and all of them, and making sure that there wasn't a tie there. And I knew there wasn't one on the Cargill side, and the Atkins and Spurlock side was far enough away that there wasn't a tie there on our sides. But yeah, but it's just a huge joke. But yeah, be content in all situations. Yeah,
Yeah.
William Wallace near Stirling Castle. That's cool. So there's supposed to be Cargill um, ruins um,
In
in
Scotland.
lower. I believe it's a lower in the lowlands, but I'm trying to remember
A
where.
county or a parish that at one time was named Cargill, right? A county
Um,
that was named, or
no, no,
a
no.
district or
It
something?
was like it was just like an area. So they had their own
Area.
castle.
Okay.
They're part of the Drummond clan. Um, the Cargills are. But yeah, there's supposed to be some ruins, and there's like originally we named our channel Cargill's Corner. Well, there's a famous historical spot in Scotland that's Cargill's Corner, so we couldn't hold on to that. Um, so
Yeah, that Paul talks about being content in
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Philippians, and I've definitely found one of the things that help you live in contentment. Not that I've got it all down.
No, none
All
of
of
us.
my discipleship is still ongoing. But one of the things that I try to practice, that when I do practice it well, helps me to live in contentment, is to be thankful.
Mm-hmm.
To count your blessings, to remember what to be thankful for. That's important.
Yeah, Oklahoma. It is. I don't think Oklahoma is near as windy as Kansas and Wyoming. Wyoming was super windy where we were out there.
Western Oklahoma gets a lot more wind.
Western, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And definitely where we lived in
Oh,
northern Oklahoma, we saw a lot of wind, but
yes, yeah.
we've lived some really windy places.
We saw more roundy round wind,
Yeah.
tornadoes, when we lived in Oklahoma where
Yeah.
we were at in the cross
That
timbers.
wind in Oklahoma chases its tail.
It does. It chases that tail all over the place. But yeah, and we see a little bit of weather here in Missouri. There was quite a bit of tornadic storms in the spring.
We ended up
Yep,
in our basement.
we've got a nice basement, and I think, this old house has stood here 175 plus years, and the little smokehouse has been here 180 plus years. I think that it's likely that we're and where the river is and everything, we're not likely to get struck by a tornado, but the good Lord knows what He's going to allow to happen. Yes, the Panhandle is windy. Yeah, that I would say the Panhandle is comparable to Kansas and where we were at in Wyoming.
Yeah.
I think it's the lack of trees. I
We
really
were
do.
we were not quite. We were just on the eastern edge of that more windy part of Oklahoma where we lived in Oklahoma. So
Oh, really? His body was repatriated about a decade or so ago. William Wallace.
really, what's that? What's
Interesting. I'm not
repatriated mean?
sure. Does that mean that I don't know? I'm not sure. Like patriot, like
I have no idea what that means.
Because
Repatriated, I thought it means like somebody had left their country and then comes back to it.
well, had they kind of
I have no
had
idea.
they so I'm in my line, where I'm thinking running with is they had him deemed a traitor
Yeah, I don't know.
and then have now repatriated it. That what
I,
am I thinking correctly, Philip? Is that what that means? That's not a word we're familiar with. Mr. Google Pants, get your phone out. We repatriated. We're gonna get learn something. Yes, count your blessings. Yes, exactly. If we do that, that helps us. Um, Patrio. Oh, he just put it up here. Return to his original country. Oh,
yes, yeah, that's what it
okay.
says. Yeah,
Oh,
I was right.
okay. Yeah.
Huh, they returned his body back to
Oh,
Scotland.
kind of like Jacob when they left Egypt. I'm sorry. Makes me think of Bible stuff. You know, they
Mm-hmm.
exhumed Jacob's body and moved him from whenever they let
Took him
when
to the
so
promised
could.
land.
Can you imagine they carried him around for 40 years? Bless their hearts. Yes, lots of respect for that. Yep. Many miles on motorcycles. Woo, Texas Panhandle.
Well, I know the panhandle's windy. There's no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I like go to Wyoming and see how windy you think it is there.
We watched, and it wasn't rounding. It wasn't the wind
Just
chasing
straight
us. Just
line,
so like our minivan scooted about 6 inches
sideways.
sideways, not all in one gust, but it just kind of walked it a little bit, just about 6 inches one day, and in a matter of like an hour, it just vibrated it over from the wind hitting it so much.
I'd been working in Kansas for a long time. I've been there and worked construction and done a lot of things and
Yeah.
ranch work and construction work and stuff in Kansas. And when I came down here to work with my brother one day, we were cleaning up for the day, and I started stacking material and laying rocks and logs on it, and
Yep.
getting everything kind of tucked up under
Yep.
up against buildings and up under, next to brush piles and stuff. My brother's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm cleaning up so we can leave." He said, "What are you doing with that for?" And I was like, "So it doesn't blow all over the place." He said, "This is Missouri. You're not in Kansas anymore." And sure enough, we can just leave a stack of plywood unbanded, and it's still there when we come back.
That's yeah.
I remember one time we were in Kansas and we had a whole bunk of plywood, like what is it, 50 some sheets or whatever, and we had cut the banding and pulled a sheet off the top of it and used it. And we went home and came back that day, and it looked like a kid had been playing with playing cards. I mean, that was scattered all over the field next to that house. The whole bunk of plywood was just.
So William Wallace was taken apart limb by limb by the English, arm and legs, and put to the furthest parts of the English Empire.
Huh.
Wow. A warning to those that oppose the English rule.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. I mean, that's not awesome, but I didn't remember that part of history. Thank you for sharing that. Wow. LOL about the plywood. Not the blowing away part, though. But yeah, yeah, wow. That's neat.
Yeah.
I mean, it's neat that they were able to. So, evidently, those pieces were put in places of, and then like,
Where they
kept track of them. Or enough of him was brought back that they considered
Mm-hmm.
considered it. Wow, repatriated. Wow, that's
So
awesome.
there's really neat in the early days of people from Europe coming to the U.S., not the U.S., to North America.
Yeah.
There's some really, 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 really neat early interactions with the Gaelic people, Scottish and Irish people, when they started being around Native Americans. A lot of the early white Indians, just really neat how their cultures were enough alike
They were clannish. Yeah.
The eastern woodlands and the Irish and the Scottish, how their cultures were enough alike that some of those guys really fit in good, and especially um, the Appalachia.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Indians that were in Appalachia and the Scottish Highlanders and the Irish and how they just fit in good there, and not just with the people but also with the land,
Yep.
and the the there was just a lot of the very early traders were Scottish and Irish in amongst the natives. I'm talking like before the Revolutionary War.
Right. Right.
Those times definitely into the Appalachians. The over the mountain men were heavily Scots Irish. The ones that were settling in Appalachia when it was illegal for them to settle in Appalachia, they were definitely settling that part of the world.
Well, guys, we're going to have to get going. Dale is live, and we're running over the top of Dale's devotion. So, y'all, thanks for coming in tonight. Prayer requests. I get a prayer request from Evelyn Newman had an unspoken request, so let's lift that up. And then Patty, the tinker's wife, she is moving. She's gotten her home sold, another home purchased, and so she's in transition set there. Let's lift Dale and Lisa up and their family. Let's lift them up, and as Dale brings his devotion today, I believe he's bringing a devotion today. I didn't look. I'm sorry, but I don't want to run over the top of him if he did. So we're going to do a real quick prayer. Thank you so much for coming in and blessing us today. And we'll hope to see you next week. So you want to just pray us out?
Yeah, I can. Father, you're mighty, you're holy. And Lord, we know that you are so awesome, Lord, and we're so thankful to get to see you in our history, get to see you and see the need for your mercy and your grace in our mistakes. Lord, we're just blown away by you. Lord, Evelyn has made a request that we know that you know every intricate detail of that request, and we lift it up to you. Father, we do ask that you be with 9 Acres as they struggle with some things in their family, and Lord, we just know that you will.
If you're not familiar, Dale with 9 Acre Family Farm. So if you want to jump over there, good night, y'all. We'll see you next week.
And remember, very much.
Good night.